Most people picture the Arctic as a quiet, frozen wasteland. Polar bears, silence, nothing worth fighting over. That image is dangerously wrong. Beneath that ice sits an estimated $1 trillion worth of minerals and rare earth elements, plus roughly 25% of the world's entire undiscovered natural gas. The Arctic is not a wasteland. It is a vault, and the world's most powerful militaries are quietly positioning themselves to control it. No declarations, no headlines, just icebreakers, submarines, and bases being built at the edge of the world. The Arctic is warming roughly 4 times faster than the rest of the planet. The ice that defined this region for thousands of years is retreating, and what it leaves behind is changing everything. As the ice melts, new shipping lanes are opening. The most significant is the Northern Sea Route, running along Russia's Arctic coastline, connecting the Pacific to the Atlantic in a way that rewrites global trade geography. The Northern Sea Route cuts shipping distance from Shanghai to Hamburg by approximately 30%. It saves roughly 7,000 kilometers compared to the Suez Canal route. That is not a shortcut. That is a revolution. And right now, Russia controls this route entirely. Any nation wanting to use it must request Russian permission and often pay for Russian icebreaker escorts. Moscow did not plan this advantage. The melting ice handed it to them. Russia has 24,000 kilometers of Arctic coastline, more than any other nation. Moscow does not consider the Arctic a frontier. Russia considers it home territory, and it has been militarizing that home with urgency. Russia operates the world's largest nuclear icebreaker fleet, over 40 vessels, with more under construction. No other nation comes close. These ships are not just commercial assets. They are strategic infrastructure. Russia has built the Trefoil base on Alexandra Land, capable of housing 150 personnel year-round in extreme Arctic conditions. It has also reopened Soviet-era airstrips and deployed S-400 missile systems across Arctic positions. In 2007, a Russian submarine planted a titanium flag on the seabed directly beneath the North Pole. No legal significance, pure symbolism. But in geopolitics, symbols have a way of becoming reality. Russia also claims the Lomonosov Ridge, an underwater mountain range, is an extension of its continental shelf. If recognized internationally, that claim would give Moscow legal rights to vast additional Arctic territory and resources. China is not an Arctic nation. It shares no Arctic coastline. It has no historical claim to the region. And yet Beijing has officially declared itself and this is their actual term, near Arctic state. China is not an Arctic nation. It shares no Arctic coastline. It has no historical claim to the region. And yet Beijing has officially declared itself and this is their actual term, near Arctic state. China has invested in Greenland mining projects, built a research station in Iceland, and co-funded Arctic LNG projects in Russia. Each investment is presented as commercial. Each investment also builds strategic presence. China has also built 2 polar icebreakers and is constructing a nuclear-powered one, a capability it did not possess a decade ago. Beijing is not waiting for an Arctic invitation. It is building its own chair at the table. For years, NATO treated the Arctic as secondary. The Cold War ended, the Soviet threat receded, and the High North was quietly deprioritized. That assessment has since changed with considerable speed. Norway has been sounding the alarm longest. Oslo borders the Barents Sea directly. Russian Arctic bases sit just across Norway's maritime boundary. For Norway, this is not a geopolitical abstraction. It is next door. The United States has reactivated its second fleet for North Atlantic and Arctic operations, but America currently operates just 2 functioning heavy icebreakers. Russia operates over 40. Washington is aware of this gap. Washington is not happy about it. Political scientists call this dynamic the Thucydides trap. When a rising power challenges an established one, conflict becomes statistically likely. In the Arctic, multiple rising powers are challenging multiple established ones at the same time. The math is not comforting. Now for the part nobody involved seems comfortable discussing. The entire Arctic race is only possible because the Arctic is warming catastrophically. And the primary thing everyone wants to extract, oil and gas, is what is causing the warming. The Arctic contains an estimated 90 billion barrels of oil and 1,670 trillion cubic feet of natural gas. Extracting and burning those reserves would release carbon emissions incompatible with any serious climate target. The ice reflects sunlight back into space, keeping global temperatures stable. As it melts, darker ocean water absorbs heat instead. This accelerates the melting further. Scientists call it the albedo feedback loop. It does not have an off switch. The countries racing to extract Arctic resources are the same countries most responsible for creating the conditions that made those resources accessible. The race to profit from climate change is being run by the actors who caused it. That is the Arctic paradox. 8 nations have legitimate Arctic claims: Russia, Canada, the US, Norway, Denmark, Finland, Sweden, and Iceland. They all sit on the Arctic Council, designed for cooperation. The Council still meets. The military buildups continue regardless. The Arctic Council has no enforcement mechanisms, no military authority, no binding framework over territorial disputes. It is a conversation forum in a region where conversations are increasingly accompanied by armed submarines beneath the ice. The Northern Sea Route is already being used commercially. Arctic LNG projects are already operational. Military exercises in the high north are already happening annually. This race has already started, without a starting gun. The optimistic scenario: economic interdependency makes conflict too costly. Countries with deep trade ties do not typically shoot at each other. That logic has worked before, in other regions, under different pressures. The pessimistic scenario: resources scarce enough, routes valuable enough, and national pride strong enough have historically overridden rational calculations. The Arctic has all three, in abundance. What is certain is this: the decisions made in the next decade will determine whether the Arctic becomes a zone of managed cooperation or the most dangerous flashpoint of the 21st century. The window for choosing is open. It will not stay open indefinitely. $1 trillion in resources, 25% of undiscovered global gas, the world's fastest opening shipping lane, 5 nuclear powers, all converging on the same frozen space. The Arctic is not a sideshow. It is the main event. Which country do you think will control the North Pole? Russia, which has been there longest? China, which has the deepest pockets? Or a NATO alliance that nearly missed the moment entirely? Drop your answer in the comments below. Subscribe to GeoMind Studio, because the next chapter of the Arctic story is being written right now, in the dark, beneath the ice, and you will want to know how it ends.